Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. We're virtual. You'd need to call first if you want to talk to us. 612-315-6778. We discuss the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence, really more deep concepts than just here's the news. By the way, that's all we're going to give you. We go deep. We try not to be disparate. We are Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. 10,000 dead cows recently down in Missouri. I was just driving through there as they were dying. I was down in Tulsa for the week. And so is this biblical? Is this prophetic? Is this man-made? What's going on here? We really don't know the reason yet. I will say I'm an old dude. I'm over 60 now, and I have been getting more dreams since June 12th, which is the actual Shavuot date. Okay, so it says in Joel chapter 2, and my name happens to be Joel Peter, just in case you were wondering. So Joel chapter 2, and then Peter quotes it in Acts chapter 2. I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. That's me. Your young men will see visions. Even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my spirit in those days. And so I'm saying that I have seen or experienced more dreams recently. I'm not sure exactly why, but it could be related to Shavuot. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. 1 Corinthians 13. So just keep these things in mind. And if you're having more dreams or visions, if you're a young guy or a young woman and you're having more visions, please get back in touch with me. I would appreciate hearing that. It has nothing to do with the video today. So other than I'm intrigued by it. I am intrigued by end times signs. We do the philosophy of the end of days. We try not to twist the Bible. We try to give you real prophecy, and we do newspaper exegesis. Get used to it. So once again, 10,000 cows killed by what means? Well, what happened here? And I was driving through this area as it occurred, which is very interesting. And it was very hot for a Minnesota kid like me. It was nasty. So and it's getting even hotter. 106 and high humidity and things like that. So is that it? Is that what killed the cows, 106-degree temperatures? I'm arguing that it's other reasons. I'm going to cite some of the reasons. 3 injured, over 400,000 lose power as severe storms sweep through Virginia and North Carolina. It's more of an electrical type of a storm, okay? And it's damaging winds and things like that. Heat alerts, once again, for the central region. That's where I am right now. But then also out west, there's a mega drought that worsens to the driest in at least 1,200 years. So I'm citing fears, but I'm citing frightening weather. I think it's eschatological, people. And we'll see if you agree with me. I was at this get together in Tulsa, and the lady next to me said, well, my brother is a pilot, and he said the wind gusts are horrific over Washington, D.C. I said, the politicians? She laughed. No, it is the fact that it's just worse over Washington right now. The gusts are horrific, and this is a citation from some news source saying that the winds are horrific over there. Wind gusts over 50 miles per hour are just constant. They're pestering and persistent over the last few weeks, over the last few months. And so the storms, the weather, the everything like that is the pilots are noticing it. Okay. Now they aren't going to run around screaming about it because they're pilots. They'll deal with it, but they are noticing it, and it's problematic. Okay, so low pressure systems, yes. Arctic cold, yes. Climate change, well, I would say cosmological change, because I think it's coming from outside in the universe into us. So military aircraft are crashing. Just recently, 2 aviators and 3 crew members died from an Osprey tilt rotor aircraft. And but we've over the last few years we've lost 198 service members in crashes, and 157 aircraft and $10 billion. So there's a recent string of deadly military crashes, and it doesn't seem to be an accident. Major airlines are preempting and canceling flights. This is as of right now, June 14th. It's a pain to fly these days. The FAA and airlines are trying to fix that. What I want to cite is the combo of rough weather, staff shortages, and infrastructure challenges have left major carriers struggling. Okay, so weather is first, and weather is weird right now. This is the time for thunderstorms, no doubt about it, but it seems like this is opening up every hour, every day. It's bizarre. Okay, so this is that combo. So also, this is months ago, but it was interesting how suddenly the magnetosphere opened up and allows 40 of 49 Starlink low orbit satellites that were launched on February 3rd to be crushed by magnetic energy. So the density of the atmosphere was so severe that the drag on the satellites was 50% higher than in previous launches, and that was it. They were done. Boom. So Elon Musk lost 40 of his little satellites. So I'm saying this is going to happen more in the future here. Get used to it. Death beams. Now, this is from Mike Adams. He's the health ranger, and I can't cite him all that well, but basically, he's saying the candle deaths seem to be explained as of June 17th. NASA warns magnetic rifts cause deadly solar radiation extinction level events on the Earth in specific areas. It's like the finger of God. Think that way. NASA openly talks about weakened magnetosphere that allows intense solar radiation to break through rifts and reach the surface of the Earth. Once again, the finger of the God of our God, but also like a magnifying glass, but it's magnetic. So keep that in mind. So it's UV and magnetic related. So it's like a microwave. It's like literally turning on a microwave and beaming it onto that specific location and killing everything right there. The rifts open and close by the hour at random locations across the Earth, but there is an anomaly in the southern hemisphere that's huge. So deadly radiation that beams through these rifts can kill animals and humans. This is coming from NASA too. So as the magnetosphere weakens, combined with ozone layer depletion, natural forces can cause rifts or gaping holes in the shielding that normally protects Earth from UV and emanating from the sun. So basically, the magnetosphere is failing as the magnetic reversal accelerates and death beams are coming through. This is biblical. We'll get there. The magnetosphere is a permeable shield from NASA, and you could say, oh, NASA lies all the time. Well, guess what? They tell the truth every now and then, too. So in this case, we can check them up and prove that it is a permeable shield. It does bend based on the amount of energy coming from the sun. It can create a rift, allowing energy to pour into our safe haven. The rifts open and close many times daily or even many times hourly, but when the magnetosphere is thinner or the ozone layer is thinner, more of this, it's more dramatic, people. Okay, that's when the fireworks start. The magnetosphere normally absorbs the incoming energy from the solar wind and explosively releases that energy in the form of geomagnetic storms and substorms, which is like your radar range beaming onto the Earth, UV and magnetic particles that kill. Okay, that's what's going on. Ben Davidson is Suspicious Observers. Every morning he records a new video. He has 9 points that I'd like to cite. 1. The South Pole has already left Antarctica, and the North Pole is racing across the Arctic Ocean. That's why Russia is invading Ukraine. They're getting colder, and they know it. And they won't be able to grow as many crops, so they need to move south and into excellent areas like the Ukraine, because that's the best dirt in the earth. Okay, the magnetic poles are getting ready to flip. And that's from SWARM, which is the European Space Agency. Magnetic field began weakening in 1600, but then it really picked up. It thinned 10% from 1880 technically to 2000. It's thinning 5% per century normally, but now it's 5% per decade. Okay, and the magnetic field is continuing to weaken rapidly. Magnetic reversals can take about 100 years. Magnetic reversals lead to extinction level events. Magnetic reversals may cause biblical floods or biblical end times. That's Ben. So here's where he's saying the poles are moving to. The North Pole would move towards, he thinks it's going to be the Indian Ocean. Very interesting. But it could be south of the Bermuda Triangle too. There is the Dragon's Triangle. So it's very interesting how we're ready for this weird. It's going to be frightening, people. The polar shift. The wobble is in the Bible too. Trust me. Okay, 8,000 years, there's Noah's flood. You can see the mark right there, and you can see it's been going along and kind of gradually increasing, and now it's dropping off. Okay, so that's our magnetic strength for the last 8,000 years, and here's the drop off, and what that does is it causes the droughts and the other weather conditions. Okay, that's where you are, and it's dropping off, people. Okay, it also causes heart issues. So more magnetic fluctuations, the more heart attacks. Get used to it. And this is an article from the Lithuanian University of Health Sciences saying stronger oscillations in the Earth's magnetic field may have an impact on the heart disease. So just watch for it. Just be aware of it. Okay. Now, am I talking about conspiracies? Are these man-made issues? LBJ thought that we could control the weather. And this is him back in 1963, I think it was, saying we can control the weather. Okay? Is it HARP? Is it CERN? Is it is it eschatology? I'm arguing, people, that it's eschatology. So let's check the verses out. We're not in the sixth seal. We're not there yet, but we're seeing signs of it, where the heavens would decompose and then they would recede like a scroll. So let's go through the sixth seal and see what we're coming to at some point in time. Then I watched as he broke the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake, and the sun turned black as sackcloth worn in mourning, and the full moon became blood red. The stars fell from heaven to earth, just as a fig tree drops its figs when shaken by a strong wind. The sky receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from its place. Then there was kings and rulers and generals, the rich and the mighty, indeed everyone slave and free, hid himself in the caves and among the rocks and the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of the one sitting on the throne and from the fury of the Lamb, for the great day of their fury has come, and who can stand? That's Revelation 6:12 through 17. I believe we're in the seals. We're moving towards the fourth seal. We're deep in the third seal right now. It's increasing. And so the sixth would come at some point in time in the future. I have no idea of when. But then you would go into the trumpets. Then you would go into the bowls, and they would probably happen during the Great Tribulation or the tribulation. Okay, Luke 21 agrees with this. Now, Luke adds some other thoughts to this, like the fearful signs, phobias. Okay, so he watched, or he answered, watch out, don't be fooled. And this is Yeshua speaking. For many will come in my name, saying, I am he. The time has come. Don't go after them. They're false prophets. You will hear of wars and revolutions. Don't panic. But these things must happen first. But the end will not follow immediately. We've got time to go, people. Okay. Then he told them people will fight against each other. Nations will fight against each other. There will be great earthquakes, and there will be epidemics and famines in various places, and there will be fearful sights, phobias for people. We will be frightened by the great signs, Semyon, from heaven. See that? Okay, but before all this, they will arrest you and persecute you and hand you over to the synagogues and prisons. You will be brought before kings and governors. This will be on account of me, on Yeshua, but it will prove an opportunity for you to bear witness. So that's Luke 21. So once again, I just want you to cite this is in the Greek, so left to right, that you're going to have the nation fighting against nation, so that's ethnics, and you're seeing ethnic fighting right now. Kingdom against kingdom, basileia, yep, okay. Then seismos, megas, so you're going to have great earthquakes, and then you'll have famines and pestilences, and we're seeing that, and then fearful sights again, so that's phobias, and then in the heaven, and signs, great signs, and then terror again. So that's a different way. Oh, that's the Hebrew way of saying it. So I did combine Isaiah 19 down below, just so you could see the word in the Hebrew, the same word as phobia. So Haga. Okay, it's almost like a celebration, but it's the opposite. It's a fearful celebration. Okay, so phobotron in the Greek is 5400 generally. It's in Luke a lot. It's in Isaiah 19:17, but it's always plural. So keep that in mind. And so a terrible sight, cause of terror, an object of terror. Okay, and getting back to Isaiah, so windows opened, earth staggers like a drunk. Terror, and that's pakad or phobos, pit and trap are upon you, you who live on the earth. So pakad is the Hebrew way. The phobos is, as we mentioned, the Greek way of saying terror, fears. He who flees the sound of the terror will fall into the pit. He who climbs out of the pit will be caught in the trap. For the windows of heaven have been opened. I'm arguing that's the magnetosphere thinning, and the earth's foundations shake. The earth cracks and breaks open. The earth crumbles to pieces. The earth trembles and totters. The earth staggers to and fro like a drunk, sways back and forth like a watchman's shelter. Isaiah 24. Isaiah 34. For Adonai, our God, is angry with every nation, furious with all their armies. He has completely destroyed them, handed them over to slaughter. The slain will be thrown out. The stench will rise from the corpses. That sounds like Revelation 19 and Ezekiel 38:39. The mountains will flow with their blood. The whole host of heaven will decompose. The heavens themselves will be rolled up like a scroll. Have you seen this before? Yes. And their array will wither away like a withering grape leaf that falls from a vine, or a withering fig from a fig tree. Okay? It sounds the same each time. This is a little bit different version. This is 2 Peter. Dear friends, do not ignore this. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. So if Yeshua died and resurrected in 30 Common Era, 2,000 years to that day would be coming up in 2030, and we are about 7 years away from that. The Lord is not slow in keeping his promise. He is long-suffering, people. He is. But he's not slow, as people think of slowness. On the contrary, he is patient with you. For it is not his purpose that anyone should be destroyed, but that everyone should turn from his sins. However, the day of the Lord will come like a thief. On that day, the heavens will disappear with a roar, and the elements will melt and disintegrate, and on the earth, and everything will be burned up. 2 Peter 3, 8 through 10. Then continuing on in 2 Peter 3, since everything is going to be destroyed like this, what should you do? Lead holy and godly lives and wait for the day of God, and work really to hasten its coming. The day will bring the destruction of the heavens by fire again, and the elements will burn from heat. But we, following along with his promise, wait for new heavens and new earth in which righteousness will be at home. Wonderful. Okay, David Stern says it's everywhere throughout the Bible. This cataclysmic stuff from 2 Peter through 3. And so the heavens will disappear, the elements will melt, things will be burned up. I mean, it's everywhere. And it's everywhere in other things like the Sibylline oracles and things like that, in Enoch and Ezra, so forth Ezra. So another section that I want to cite, and this is really my text for the day, so we're getting close to the end here. Oh no, the shepherds are destroying and scattering the sheep in my pasture. The shepherds are the pastors, the lying pastors. And as a result of that, later on now in Jeremiah 23, look, the storm of Adonai bursting out in fury, a whirling storm, whirling down upon the heads of the wicked. Adonai's anger will not abate until he fully accomplishes the purpose in his heart in the Acharith HaYomim, that is the end of days. You will understand everything. I did not send these prophets. I did not send these false pastors or prophets. Yet they ran. I did not speak to them. Yet they prophesied. So I'm linking that together. So when you see the bad weather, remember the false prophets that are in the end days. Okay? And Yeshua warned us about false prophets and about false pastors. But Jeremiah is mentioning it too, and it's specifically not about Jeremiah's day. It's the Acharith HaYomim. And so just keep that in mind. That is right now. And you say, well, give me another source of this. Jeremiah 30. Why then do I see all the men with their hands on their stomachs like women in labor? That's the end times. With every face turned pale. So the men are pregnant because it's labor time at the end of days. How dreadful that day will be. There has never been one like it, a time of trouble for Yaakov. So the time of Jacob's trouble. But out of it he will be saved. Look, the storm of Adonai, bursting out in a fury, a sweeping storm, swirling down upon the heads of the wicked. Adonai's fierce anger will not abate till he accomplishes the purpose of his heart. In the Acharith HaYomim, you will understand the end of days. Jeremiah 30. So I cited those things together just so you could link it together again. Two sources. So I'm saying that God is opening up the windows of heaven to allow UV to come through, and it's almost like a magnifying glass. So it's literally like you turn on your radar range, your microwave oven, and you microwave and UV that specific location. It's the finger of God. And he's doing that because of false prophets. That's what seems to be in the Bible. So Matthew 24, at that time, if anybody asks you, look, here is the Messiah, or there he is, don't believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I've told you ahead of time. So be aware of that. So the magnifying glass is going to be on, and God is opening up the windows to call out the false prophets. So just be aware of that. That's what I think is going on. Now, you know that I love Mark Biltz. I just love him. I'm disappointed that he's predicting the Jubilee next year. I'm not sure if that's the case. I don't seem to have an angle on the Shemitah or the Jubilee, but that means we would be in the Shemitah year right now and moving into the Jubilee this fall. We'll see. If he's right, God bless him. If he's wrong, God help him. All I'm predicting is worse weather based on the Bible verses that I just read to you. Okay, I'm not predicting a Shemitah or a Jubilee or any of those things. I'm predicting storms, and it seems to be the act of God and the finger of God. That's what I'm predicting. I don't think I'm wrong right now. Once again, we're in the birth pangs. We're heading towards seal 4. We will hit the tribulation at some point in time. The two witnesses would show up before that time. Great tribulation, I'm saying the sun and the cosmos will be part of this, and you will notice it in weather patterns. Okay, and also I want you to be aware that we've already had one supermoon eclipse on May 15th through the 16th, and we're going to have another one during the fall Sukkot. That is my traditional time to start the Great Tribulation, and that would be November 8th of 2022. So there's another one coming up this year, another blood moon eclipse. And so we just had a red type of a moon. It wasn't an eclipse, just a few days ago here in June. So just be aware of it. I watched it. Watch for heavenly signs. I'm telling you that that's important to do. And also keep your garments clean, because we're getting close to this wedding time frame. So whether it's Rosh Hashanah that he returns on, or Yom Kippur, or whatever, get your garments clean for the wedding. Okay? So that's what I'm telling you to be aware of. I want you to be blessed and not frightened, and I want you to be watching for the weather, because it can change very quickly and really affect your life. So God bless you. Bye.